Hi everyone, I'm Esperanza Walsh and this is Art from the Heart at St. Augustine's Church. And we are still in the topic of Impressionism, and today's subject is a boat on the shore. Let me just bring it closer. So again, it's Impressionism. So afar you are able to see the boat, but when I bring it closer, the details are really not that defined. And it's similar to this piece we made previously. Okay, so we've made this storyboard previously. So when you look at it closely, it's just dots and lines and some blurry areas. But if you look at it from afar, you can see a turbo with smoke and dimension. So again, using the same technique, we paint this boat and of course everything surrounding it. Okay, so why don't we start? And with that, we need a pencil and paper. So we're just using a 190 GSM paper and just a regular pencil, HB. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is to draw a line in the middle of the sheet. So, sorry, this line will mark the horizon. Okay, sorry about that. Let me do that again for you. Okay, as you can see, there's a line in the middle of the sheet. Doesn't have to be very straight. And then, okay, we are doing this in a portrait orientation. So that means that this is, the middle is here and the half of it is here and the other half is here on top. Okay. Now at the bottom, we divide it again by 2. And we again draw a horizontal line, roughly dividing it by 2. And then about a centimeter from here, I draw another guideline. Okay. And then now we take the middle of the sheet, but we only mark this lowest portion. And about a centimeter towards my left, I will mark it again. Again, this is just an approximation. And then about a centimeter to the right. Oh, I'm sorry, about 2 centimeters to the right. That would be the next mark. Okay. Okay. And then we now just draw a slanted line here. Okay, let's start with this bit. So slanted line here going out, and the slanted line here going out. And the reason I wanted to start here is because from this point to this point, the line ends on the guidelines. But here, we need to extend it a little bit, like so. So it's a little bit over the guideline, just a little bit. And then we connect this point and this point with a curve. Okay, now I'm going to remove the unnecessary guidelines. That is so that we can see what we are actually doing in this area. So again, we connect them with a curved line, and this is the curved line. Now, I am going to draw a horizontal line here, short one, slightly above the middle of these 2 lines. So it's going to be like here. And then I'm going to draw a parallel line to this one from this point going to this curved line. So, well, approximately parallel. And same on the other side. And then I will remove this bit that we don't need. And now, if you can see here, this boat has a motor. We don't see the details. Again, it's an impressionist version. But I will do that here. So just like that, like so. And then I will remove the lines in it. Okay, so that is done. Now from this point to somewhere here, we will measure approximately 4 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, approximately 4 centimeters. Then we draw our guideline. And then this intersection here, we will connect to this point here. Okay, so now we remove this guideline. And we also remove this one so that we don't get confused. Okay, so now I will again draw a slanted line from this point parallel to this one. Okay, so I measure it. So the same size here. Okay, the same size would be up to here. But what I'm gonna do is extend it a little bit. Again, just a little bit. So this now is in the same direction as this one, but slightly longer. So I will connect these two by drawing a line which is at first straight and then curves towards this point. So let me do that. So I have this straight bit and then I'm now starting to curve towards that point. Okay, wonderful. So I now have that part of the boat. Now I would like to connect this part to this part of the boat. So I'm going to use the same style. So the same method. So I'm going to draw a line that's, well, almost straight. And then slightly curving towards this point. So that would be parallel to this. Okay, until this point, because that is straight. And then from this point, I will start curving inwards towards this point. So straight, and now I curve inwards, meet there. And then, there you go, the basic shape of my boat. Now, I would like to put some seats on my boat. So I'm just going to follow the orientation here, the horizontal orientation. So I'm going to put one here, like so, and another one here, like that. Okay. At this point, it looks like it's floating. So I must do something to make it look like it's not. And that is, okay, first of all, by creating that part at the bottom, which is the internal dimension of the boat, and then completing the shape of the seat. So internal dimension would be just parallel to this. So we don't draw over this piece. So we draw here, just parallel. Okay. So that's what we have. And now we just draw vertical lines parallel to the sides of the paper. So 1, 2, until that line we have just created. So let me just turn it around so I can see if it's proportional. Yes, the proportions are okay. So now I have the basic part of both. So the next bit I want to do would be to create these two supports on both sides. So for this one, I need to turn it around so I can see where the supports are going. Okay. So for this one, this side is easier, this first support. So I just draw a curved line going up, like so, and here, an almost symmetrical curved line going up. Now, it becomes more challenging Now, it becomes more challenging for the second curved line. For this one, we have to use a different way of drawing it. So we would use more of measuring it. So if, for example, we measure it up to here, let's say up to here in between the seats, so we connect this with a curved line between the seats. On the other side, right, we would also need to measure it and connect it between the seats. I think that's too far. Oh, sorry, this is not in between the seat. My apologies for this, because if we do extend the seat, this is actually going to hit that line where the seat is. So the line that we should be doing would be from here. And I did mention this is more complicated than the first one. So it would be like this, and then connected by a curved line. And then here, another curved line, slightly shorter. And then we will connect this to that point. Okay, a little bit curved there. And then here, curved, and then we connect it like so. Okay, I'm just erasing that to make the lines clearer. So now we have this bit, which is the roof of the boat. By the way, this boat was modeled from a boat that we took when we were in Bali. Okay, I think that is perfect. Now, I will erase these guidelines, making sure that I can still see them, but making sure that they have been lightened so that when I paint it, it will not overwhelm the image. Okay, for the boat, you can use any color. However, for the rest of the items in this scene, uh, please do follow the guide for the colors that I will be working with. So the first thing we're going to do is to do the sky. To do that, we paint this area with water and just water. Okay, and then we will use a dark blue color for this. Do not use cerulean blue. Use something darker, like ultramarine or Prussian blue. Make sure the whole thing here has been painted with water. Okay, so now I'm going to use this dark blue color that I have. Again, use ultramarine or Prussian blue. Do not use cerulean blue. So I'm just drawing my sky. And I'm painting it on the horizon. And now I will paint this area that I drew with water. And the reason we painted this with the water first is to make it look smooth. You know, the transition, so we can create some feathering effects. So let's add some more of that. Again, same technique. We just paint it with a wet brush to spread it. That way it looks more natural. Now if we want to lighten it, all we have to do is just to use a kitchen towel. Okay, so we've done that. Okay. Let me just lift some of the excess water. So now we have our sky. And the next bit would be to do the water. Now, these two lines that we've drawn earlier, this is actually an overlap of the beach and the water. So for this area, I want you to draw a line just in water over the guideline, the lower guideline, and then just paint some lines of water here, clean water. Okay, and it's okay, it's actually better if there's spaces in between the lines. And then what the next thing we're going to do would be to mix green with a little bit of cerulean blue so that we can have that blue-green effect of water. And then we are going to start painting it. Let me just turn it towards this side. And we are going to paint it in an X direction to make the water look dynamic. Okay, it's now dried, so I need to add water to it to achieve the effect I want. Again, it's not solid. Okay, let me remove that. Okay. So again, just X motion, long X's, long X's. Oh, I have to paint this area first, as well, rather, because this area is actually open. And then we will get some cerulean blue and now paint this horizon. So as you see, we painted that flat, but as we go closer to the boat, we start creating space between the strokes. And again, we paint it in an X motion. Okay, that's fantastic. So here we have painted the sky and the water. And now we move on to the sand. Okay, so we continue. And now I'm going to use yellow ochre for the sand. And as you can see, I just painted it randomly, but in a certain direction. And now I will spread it by just rinsing my brush with water. Oops. And the brush has gone somewhere else. So I'm gonna try to lift this funny looking color. Yeah, black. So I touched black accidentally, but that's fine. And then here, I just make sure I spread it, and that I spread it in a way that the color is not even. So the color is not even. Some have more yellow ochre than others, and that is what we are looking for. So now, the next thing to do is to get burnt umber. Let me just test if it's what I want. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the yellow. So I'm going to paint some areas with burnt umber, like so. Again, randomly here, because this is part of the beach. And now I will spread it just using water. So again, it's spread unevenly, which is what we want. Perfect. Add some more there. And again, spread it with just water. So some areas are darker than others. And now we are going to create some rocks. So I'm going to use burnt umber. So I'm going to put a small rock here. So that's my small rock. Just that, okay. And then here, a bigger one. Okay. And I'm going to put more burnt umber on it. And just like so. Yeah, it's concentrated in some areas. And that's what we are actually looking for, that it be concentrated in some areas. Okay. Now for the rocks, I need to rinse this brush, and I will paint it now with some black paint, just for highlights. Again, as you can see, this is not a detailed rock. It's also part of an impressionist art piece. So I'm just dropping black paint in some areas, like so. Same here. Okay, and how I drop the paints would be dependent on where I assume that the light is coming from. So in this case, oops, okay, I am assuming that the light is coming from this direction, so that this area is lighter than that side. So now I will have to follow that with both, and also all the shadows. So with the boat, I wanted to paint my boat orange. So, well, I did paint it orange here, blue and orange, and I'm gonna do it again. I'm just so into this color today. So blue and orange. Okay, I painted this area with water first before dropping the paint over, so that I can lift the paint as I want to. Okay, I'm gonna make this area darker. Oops. I'm gonna add water here. And I'm gonna lift the paint off again. Like so. And later on, I'm going to paint it with some white. Yes, I don't usually use white, but in this case, I would drop some white on it. It's not going to have exactly the same effect as squash, but it would definitely change the color in a certain way. Okay, so now I'm going to paint this one blue. So I can't paint this cerulean blue because the background is cerulean blue. So I have to paint it with my Prussian blue paint. For this one, it's just a flat wash. And then this bit, I'm going to paint it with blue as well, along with the seats. Yes, I painted the inside lighter than the outside just to show the difference. Okay, I'm now going to paint this area with some black just to darken it a bit, you know, to create that dimension. And I'm going to lift the excess paint. I might need to paint it again with blue, but that's fine. Okay, fantastic. Now I'm going to paint the back orange, this bit. Uh-oh, too much paint spreading, that's fine. But I do need to lift the paint, it's really too much. Okay, I'm gonna use the there. If there's still too much after I paint this side, I would need to lift more paint off. Okay, I think I would need to lift more paint. And here as well. Okay, that should be fun. Okay, wow, fantastic. We are getting there. We're actually almost finished. We should just get some black paint for the seats. So like so. And then I am going to get some more burnt umber. Here, burnt umber here. Just spread it. Okay, so these are my seats. Okay, now I need to let that dry a little bit. So let's do the motor. So the motor would be just black. Like so. And then also these rails. This would just be black for now. Okay, and then here, there's this black line. Okay, I'm just going to darken it a bit. Just with the black paint left in my brush, or whatever I can lift from the rest of the dark areas, but I will not get it from the palette because it will be too dark, because that would be too concentrated. Now, the difference in this art piece is that I'm going to use white watercolor paint, which I don't usually do. Yes, I know most of you will find it strange that I am using white watercolor paint for this one because I don't really use white watercolor paint for my artworks. But for this one, it's just to create that certain highlight. So we will do that. And I start with this bit here. And then here. And then here in front of the boat. Like so. And then here on the sides. Here on the back. Here at the back as well. And then here. Here. There we go. So it's creating that life for my boat. But I'm not really putting so much details. Just a few shades of white. Let it mix with the black paint. And that's what I love about watercolor. It's like it has its own life. Okay, and here we just put some white stuff here. And we have that. Now I'm going to put some white paint here on these rocks, but only in the areas which are supposed to be reflecting sunlight. And then I'm going to rinse my brush and start dabbing it. And if I put too much, I'm going to add more black. So I need to add black. Now again, only in the darker areas. Oh, only in areas which are supposed to be darker. Okay, like so. Okay, so now I have my rocks. And then I am going to go back to this one and just make this a little bit darker. Okay, just slightly darker. I do that by using a wet brush to spread the paint. Again, that makes it look uneven, which is what I want. And then I'm gonna take some white paint for this area. Perfect. Okay, now I'm just going to check if I need to paint more black in certain areas. Yes, I do. Like here and here. Like so. I think that's good. Well, that's perfect in my opinion. Just want to make the seeds more prominent now. Oops, black, not burnt umber. Okay, that's looking good. Now let me just make this look more natural. Okay, so that's good enough. Now we need to do shadows. So for the shadows, I have to make sure that my shadow is not too dark. Okay, so we've done the shadows of those rocks. Now I'm going to do the shadow of this one. So that's done. And now I'm going to do the shadow of the boat. Okay, for the shadow of the boat, in this area, it is different from the shadow in this area because this is still with water. In the water, I'm sorry. In the water, so a little bit like that. And then like that. So here it becomes more solid. I need to turn it a bit. Okay. And now we have our, oh, so I still have to let this dry, otherwise it is going to uh, flow all over. So I just have to let it dry. But we do have the whole image here now. So we have the sky, the water, the boat. And again, this is done in an impressionist manner. As you can see, the details of the boat is not defined. However, if you look at it from afar, you will actually see that there's a boat, and you will see that the light is coming from a certain area of the boat, and it creates a shadow. So everything's there, except that it's not done in realism. Okay, so let me just turn it around. Let me do one final check if we got all the parts correctly. Oh yes, we have everything here. So we've done today's activity, and I do hope you enjoyed today's activity. And let me see if I can lift it like so. So yeah, okay, that's okay. I can't really, oops, this is the most I can do, otherwise the water is going to drip. But that's it. Our boat on a beach with the water and the sky in the background and a few rocks. So see you again next time for more Impressionism. And again, I do hope you enjoyed the session. Bye-bye.